Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Awaken the World. Tonight we present a meeting in the field beyond wrongdoing or right doing. Hello there, hello there. Hope everyone is having a wonderful evening tonight. Just going to make sure our stream is functional. Yeah, everything looks good. And we'll give a minute and see who's going to show up. I know it's Tuesday right before the 4th of July coming up. And of course, we have just had Canada Day. Hello, Jennifer. Nice to see you today. I am sporting another wonderful find from our secondhand stores here in Armstrong today. $4. Beautiful shirt. Light, cottony, perfect for summer. So we're going to have a discussion today about that place beyond the field of right doing and wrong doing. And there's a really good reason to have this discussion, okay? And we get so caught up in this as human beings. And it's really crazy. And we could do so much better if we just drop most of it. We're going to talk about why. And it starts with our concepts of right and wrong. Now, without a doubt, right and wrong are entirely made up of human BS. Thank you. I like the shirt too. It's a great deal. Feels really nice. It has this natural sort of linen-y cotton feel to it. So, and I happen to like frog collars. Always have. So this concept of right and wrong, you know, what's right today is wrong tomorrow. If you look back a couple hundred years ago and still today in places in the world, it's perfectly all right to have slaves. And we can't sit there and say, well, no, you can't do that, because it wasn't that long ago that we were heavily involved in slavery as well. And many would argue that even today, in our modern day world, there's a very different but very real sort of slavery still going on. Whether it's in the child sex trade, the list is almost endless. So our concept of right and wrong is really more a matter of convenience given the time. Right and wrong are also a matter of the space you're in. For example, here in Canada, you know, if you're on the border between Ontario and Quebec, there's a town just on the other side of the Quebec border. And there you can go see a stripper and you can have sex with that same stripper right there in the establishment. But on this side of the Ontario border, it's against the law. It's wrong. So it's right or okay on one side of the border and wrong or not okay on the other side of the border. The distance has determined it. Our concepts of right and wrong, of course, are all wrapped up in the idea that somehow we know better. That somehow what we're doing is the right way. And in reality, there really is no right or wrong. There is just choice, responsibility, and consequence, commonly known as karma. Now, contrary to popular belief, karma is not an entity, nor is it something that holds a grudge. Nor can karma be interpreted as something that you do bad today is going to come back to whack you later. That is not the case. Karma is simply choice, responsibility, and consequence. You can think of karma as a vibrational boomerang. Whatever you throw out vibrationally, that boomerang is going to come back. So if you're sending out the positive, uplifting vibrations, and you're trying to raise others up, and you're trying to bring others to a new state of consciousness, throwing that vibrational boomerang out full of that sort of positivity will see it come whirling back to you. And even if you're not ready to catch it, it'll bonk you in the head. And that's okay. We like those sort of whacks in the head. But when we load up that vibrational boomerang of ours and we go out there and we throw all this stuff out there that's negative, and full of self-deprecating behavior and pushing up against things that we perceive as wrong in our lives, not coming from a place of gratitude, that vibrational boomerang comes whipping around again and whack right in the back of the head again. Except this time it's going to knock us flat. Right and wrong are really, we really need to just toss them out the door. And I've never really looked at right and wrong at all. What I've done instead is looked within. Does whatever I'm doing, does it vibrate harmoniously with my being? Does it create a warm, fuzzy feeling in my belly? Is there a feeling of warmth and of positive vibration? Or is it causing dissonance? Is it giving me a gut ache? Is it making me feel sick to my stomach or feel out of sorts? That is the guide to what I would call right and wrong, except just as Devorah said, try not to use those words. Right and wrong are better defined as, is this serving us? Is this serving me? Or is this not serving me? Is this not serving us? Is this not serving the whole? When you look at it in terms of that, you're taking your judgment of the rightness and wrongness, which is part of the biggest problem that we face today between each other. You're taking that judgment off. And instead, what you're doing is you're looking within and seeing if whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is you're talking about, whatever it is you're, expounding from your being, is causing that positive, warm, fuzzy feeling. Causing the radiation of those positive boomerangs, right? The positive choices, the positive choices in thought, the positive choices in word, the positive choices in deed. I've told Kelly over and over again, I do not live by the rules of man. I live by the rules of Garhen. And those rules are based upon what I feel inside. Let that be your guide. The concept of right and wrong and the concept that you can define those sort of things and hold them static as if you could lock them into words. And that's exactly what we've done. And we call that the rule of law. We call those laws. Like, the 10 Commandments. And if you haven't seen it go back and see the 10 Promises to Moses video. It's a lot of fun. But just like those 10 Commandments, just like our rule of law, those rules don't serve. They're static words on a page. What happens? Everyone just looks for the way around them. The people who would never not follow those rules as a natural course of being, i.e. not to steal from your neighbor, an example, would never need that law. And yet those who would steal are going to use the law to their advantage. Use the law to circumnavigate their punishments, circumnavigate the atonement to society. And not that I'm saying we should be doing that. There's other ways to deal with that. Clearly, putting more people in prison is a really dumb idea. So when we look at things in terms of whether it serves the unification and oneness of the truth of our being, or if it doesn't serve that, let that be your guide. Let that, the feeling of your body, your body will always tell you if what you are doing is serving you. Your body will react almost violently sometimes when your thoughts, words, and deeds are going to do you harm and do others harm. Pay attention to your body. Your body will communicate to you the truth of the path you're on. Again, the concept of right and wrong is never static. And this is the big problems with the written word. And this is why, even in the Bible, it says, take care. The word kills. Why? Because it's static. when in fact we are ever evolving. It is never static. 200 years ago, buggery of young boys by nobles over in England was perfectly all right. It was, as a matter of fact, there was a lot of members of the Church of England who were happy about that. And I'm talking about their leaders. Here we are a couple hundred years later, it's not okay. And I'm not saying it ever should be okay. The point is this. Our concepts of right and wrong are always evolving. And if we truly want to see which direction we need to go, we need to simply drop those and instead focus on what vibrationally is uplifting us and what is creating dissonance within our being. I read a beautiful article on CBC News yesterday. There was another experiment done with superagers over in Italy. People over in the old country. 105 years old and up. And what they've realized is that the human body hits a plateau. If you can live to 105, theoretically, you should never be able to die. You could, if the body remains healthy and hearty, keep going forever. Science cannot actually find a reason why our bodies fall apart outside of what we do to poison and kill them. Living in that state, looking within to see the truth of your being instead of looking exterior for judgments of right and wrong or looking for someone else to judge right and wrong for you. Getting in constant touch with that inner self. Getting in constant touch with your higher self. Pay attention to your body. It is a manifestation of that powerful spiritual being you are. It surrounds you. It holds you. And the body is manifest inside of that spiritual being. It can never lie. It will always report to you whether you are doing things that are serving or whether you're doing things that are taking away and causing dissonance. So, we're going to drop right or wrong altogether. The second big issue we have to get rid of to all meet on that field, and when I say all meet on that field, I'm talking about all of humanity. It breaks my heart to see the behavior going on. I'm watching in shock as what was loosely termed a democracy down south in the United States is unfortunately becoming more similar to a fascist dictatorship. Border Patrol agents stopping vehicles 50, 60, 70, 80 miles from the border, just on the highway, and saying, you can't travel this highway unless you verify for me a few questions. And one of those questions is, are you an American? This is tantamount to the same thing that happened in Germany. And it's happening here again. We said never again. But you know what? It's happening. And it's insidious. There was another report of a man clearly with mental issues, who, based on all the hateful rhetoric coming out about illegal immigrants, about the people who are not like us. This man went and raided a children's birthday party in an immigrant housing complex, in an apartment building, and killed people, and killed a young child as well. Why? Because they were illegal immigrants, not like me, and they didn't belong here. Now, we can look at these things and we can say, well, this is good and this is bad. But are we looking deep enough? Keep in mind that there really is no such thing as a disaster from that higher place of consciousness. All is planned. All is accounted for. Nothing occurs by accident. Now, this may be hard for you to stomach. It may even be harder for you to swallow first before you have to stomach it. Never mind what happens later. But the reality is this. When the two towers came down, roughly 3,800 people lost their lives altogether. Every single one of those beings agreed long beforehand to sacrifice this particular existence they were in at that time, to teach not only the whole of what we would call the United States, but the whole of humanity. To show us. You know, one of the things that came out of that is in the next week, it was reported that over 50,000 families who had not sat down to the same dinner table in too long to remember found themselves needing to be at the same table together. It brought our mortality and the frailty and quickness of a single existence right to the forefront. It allowed millions upon millions of people to outpour compassion, to show the beautiful side of our humanity, that angelic side of our egoic being, and our higher selves. You know, good and bad, we can say, well, you know, we have it really good over here in Canada. We have it fantastic here in the whole of North America, and it's true. We're 16% of the population using 35% of the world's resources. And sorry, it's not 16%, it's 6% of the world's population, roughly 6 to 10%. But we are using 35% of the world's resources. So what we're here having it so good, but in order for us to have it so good, somebody else has to have it bad. And yet we look at the good and we call it good, and we never look beyond that which we would call good. We never look beyond that which we would call bad. We never look deeper into the picture. And again, we simply have to come back to that same place. Is what we are seeing, is that which is coming into our awareness serving? Is it serving to evolve our being? Is it serving to enhance and grow the sense of oneness, of our wholeness, of our togetherness, of our familyness? Or is it causing separation? Is it causing your consciousness to be subsumed into your egoic state, to fall asleep? Is it energizing you and helping you rise up? Is it increasing your vibrational state? Are you sending out waves of love and waves of joy and compassion? Or are you sending out dissonant vibrations that are causing dissonant vibrations in others? Again, concepts of good and bad are not static things. They can never be looked at in their singular essence. Why? Because nothing is not interconnected. Everything is interconnected. Everything in this physical realm relies on everything else to exist. If you don't believe me, shut off all your senses. The entire universe disappears. And you can't honestly say whether it's still there or not while all your senses are shut off. You really can't. This is the big one. And this one coming up next is, again, another one of the sources of our deep sense of separation from each other. Not only within religions, but within families, within cities, within towns, within countries. And this is the idea that the human being could in some way have been born in sin. And you know, let's just clear this up once and for all. If we're to honestly believe what the Bible would tell us, then, you know, God intentionally made us a little bit wonky and then decided to destroy us all because he didn't like our wonkiness. And then, after demanding blood sacrifice and all other sorts of nasty things for thousands of years, he decided to send his kid, who was going to take the blame for what he did to us, off of our shoulders. And to do that, all we had to do is sacrifice him. Again, more blood. Yeah, not buying it. Sin means nothing more than to stray from the path. You could think of it as straying from the truth. What truth? What path? The truth of your higher self. The truth of divinity within you, around you, surrounding you. You are made of that divine essence. You are in that sea of consciousness, a divine drop in that magnificent ocean of life. The only sin we participate in is when we fall off the path. And we haven't strayed off the path. All we've done is strayed off the comfortable road. Strayed off the road where the signposts are easy to read, and where it's relatively smooth sailing and sunny skies and nice temperatures. And we stray off into the thicket or the thorns or into the darkness, into the depths of the magical woods. And this is what it means to sin. We simply stray from the truth of our being. And we do that in our minds all the time when egoically we think thoughts that cause negative feelings, negatory vibratory states within our being, which we would call feelings, within our body intelligence, and we feel yucky. We've just sinned. You're going to hell. What you've done is you've strayed from the path of truth. You've strayed from the truth of your being. And your entire body energy field does everything it can to sound off the alarm bells and say, hey, get back on that nice road. It's a much easier walk. And Devore is right. Awareness, awareness, awareness. Every day, practicing awareness. Where does this whole idea of sin come from? Well, the biggest thing it comes from is the consistent need for people to judge in order to elevate themselves above others in some way. For thousands upon thousands of years now, we judge. We judge each other. We judge the clothes. We judge the color of the skin. We judge the speech. We judge the look. We judge what you own. We judge what you don't have. We judge the way you smell. We judge what you eat. We judge what you believe. Judgment, judgment, judgment. Why can we not give up the concept of sin? Why will religions not relinquish sin and the concept of hell? Because to do so, they would have to give up their judgment that they have the only way to get home. It's okay. They're simply not there yet. Their awareness hasn't matured enough for them to understand that no matter what path you're on, all paths lead home. There's no road you can take that doesn't lead back to the Creator's side. As a matter of fact, you haven't even left the Creator's side. You're just going back into the room where you can see it all again. And that's the truth of it. So once you can release the idea that you're going to be judged in some way, and I got to tell you, I've died twice, and when I died the first time, I was a really nasty critter. If there was anyone ripe for judgment, it was me. There is no judgment. But there's responsibility. And there's intimately feeling from the other end of the stick, everyone in your life that you beat with it. But no judgment. You can't get this wrong. Hell, well, of course, once we get rid of judgment, we've just negated hell altogether. And there's 1,000 reasons why hell does not exist. And we're not going to discuss them again. It's getting too foolish to even mention anymore. But as far as hell goes, there is a different type of hell, and that is the hell that we're already in. That is the hell of our own egoic traps, our own mind trap, our own false sense of self. And out of that suffering that we perceive to be so real and so meaningful, we enact thoughts, words, and deeds out into our existence, out into the world around us, that can literally make us feel like hell might be a nicer place to be. And I've done it too. You know, the beautiful thing is you don't have to stay there. The beautiful thing is that hell is illusory. It is part of that illusion, part of Maya. And you don't have to live there. You can come out of this hell. You can give up the fears. You can give up the guilt for everything you've ever done. You know, the beautiful thing and what Christ was really talking about in the Bible, you know, you are born again literally in every single moment. Every single moment is a new opportunity for you to choose, a new opportunity for you to wing that positively charged, high vibrational boomerang of karma right out there into the universe and let it go. Just listen for the whispering sound as it's coming back up behind you. You cannot mess this up. There is nothing in this existence, nothing in all of creation that you could do to somehow fall into disfavor with that divine sea of consciousness. And we must remember most of all, of course, that when we're talking about places like heaven and hell, what we're really talking about are the states of mind that we exist in. You know, people have asked me time and time again, well, why is it that almost every single person who has a near-death experience experiences a different place, different surroundings? And, you know, we've addressed this a few times already. But the answer, of course, is that it is your mind that manifests it. We think our minds are not powerful, and yet we don't cotton on to the fact that that mind has been creating every minute of our existence, manifesting every moment of it. Not the you would think you are, but the presence that you are, the life that you are, that higher conscious being that you are, that powerful spiritual being that is what you are. That is what is manifesting existence. Your mind is infinitely powerful, and when your mind gets in alignment with that higher self, your creations become sublime. You begin to manifest your mindful version of heaven through your own eyes. That's why every spiritual master, every teacher says the same thing. Don't bother trying to change the world. Instead, change yourself. Work on yourself. Work on raising that consciousness. Drop ideas that you were a sinner. Drop ideas that you need to be saved. There is only one thing that you need to be saved from, and that is yourself. That's really it. Drop your concepts of good or bad. Don't buy into the idea that you are good or bad. Just be. Allow that inner guide, allow that inner guru we were talking about on Sunday to be your sail, to set your course, to blow you on the right paths that you want to travel on, to help lighten your step. that's what I have for today. Much love. Namaste to you all. Really looking forward to a meditation tonight. I haven't decided which one we're going to do yet. So if there's any suggestions or requests, you can let me know. And if not, I'll pick one by morning. Again, all my love. Hope you have a wonderful day. And we will see you all tomorrow, 6 p.m. on the Help Awaken channel for a wonderful meditation. Have a wonderful night.